Hey, what's up? Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon subscribers / followers. I am Jack from Synth here with another fun and hopefully informative prototype build video. Today we have the Ring Mod 4HP module that I have been working on recently. It is an adaptation of the Serge classic 1973 ring mod with an inverted output and attenuators for the VC amount. Otherwise, it is a tested working design, so hopefully when I build this to spec, it should power up without too many problems. But anyway, we're gonna get started on the build. I've got a few through-hole parts to place before we are ready to do our hardware assembly and stuff, so I'm just going to do those real quick. Got a 6.2 volt Zener right here. That is going to be the reference for a couple things. This was adapted directly from the Catgirl Synth schematic for this design, so big up Ken Stone on that. Okay, we've got that looking pretty good. Go ahead, go to the other side. And I tried to do as much surface mount as possible and assembled a lot of it last night. I did not get it pre-done. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I used a TL072 for the op amp, which is better than the one that it originally used. And again, I used a dual, which gave me the op amp for our inverted output at really no cost in terms of footprint. All right, so I'm gonna put a socket in for our 3080. Well, actually, am I? This is a question. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-pin headers, and we need to make sure that our 6-pin headers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, have enough clearance for this if we do it. So, will that work? So this is going to go on here, like so, and yeah, as you can see, there will be way more than enough clearance for a through-hole dip footprint to sit in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a socket for our CA3080. These are available again, the 3080. So pick some up. I mean, there have been improvements in what this thing does, but it's pretty good. And it's cool that it's available again because this circuit does have a really great sound. So yeah, it's pretty great. We like reissued chips. It's good for us. Okay. So got our socket there. Got two 470 nanofarad film caps that we're going to put I think I actually, so yeah, I got the silk screen reversed on these, so I can actually get away with, as you can see, I put them here. And you know what, I mean, it doesn't really matter which side they go on in terms of the depth, so I'm just gonna go ahead and solder them the way that I put them. They'd fit this other way too, admittedly, so. Oh, the joy of only having a few through-hole parts to do. Some people like it, but I have done probably thousands of builds, I would put the number at this point. And I am just tired of a million capacitors and stuff. So yeah, on this one, I have a lot of these 25K trimmers multi-turn, so I just made a footprint that combines them on KiCad because I want to use them. But you can use either single turn or multi-turn for this design. I'm just doing one leg of all three here, and I'm gonna hit them all at once. Get them nice and in place, straight as you want, anyway. Could I have done something clever here? Maybe. But it's good to have pots that work, period. So that's what the back of the module is going to look like. I guess I could have probably broken these apart earlier, but it doesn't really matter. I'll get to it. Doing this, you want to make sure not to heat the first pad that you did until hit at least one other so that it doesn't fall out. That's annoying. But anyway, as you can see, we've got good looking joints all the way around. Don't snip them off either. Don't get too aggressive with the side cutter. But yeah, as you can see, that is looking really nice. Okay, so I believe that is all of our through hole parts, unless I'm missing any. Doesn't look like it. Next up will be the headers. So yeah, at this point I'm gonna go ahead and edge cut our board. How's this gonna go? Pretty good. Clip. We just really don't want to damage any sensitive stuff, and it doesn't look like we have, so we're in business. These worked out pretty well, all things considered. So yeah, go ahead and inspect your board after you do that. Always a good idea. Looks like it worked out pretty well. So now I've got one pin header cut down already, but why not two? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now hopefully I can get away with not doing any sort of mechanical relief like a standoff. I didn't do that here. I just put a hole that a lot of people were like, what's the hole for? And it's kind of silly that it's for nothing, but it's for nothing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and we're gonna have a power header too. So let's put that on. Make sure it goes on the right side. So we've got our silkscreen header indicator right here. And we're just going to put this on here like so. Now I'm hoping this works, because there is gonna be, there's a pot right in front of it. I'm hoping there's enough space for all this, but I think there is. So we're just gonna go ahead and solder our power header like so. Thermal reliefs on the board. Make it easy to solder the ground plane, no problem. We've got our power header, and once again, I did that with the power cable so that they remain straight even when a lot of heat is applied. I find that to be a good idea. All right, and now we are going to do our pin headers. So yeah, it's not the worst idea to double check and make sure both sides have the pin header side on the daughter board, so to speak, the smaller board. And I'm just gonna fit the pin headers together like so. And yeah, there's no mechanical relief here of any kind, so I kind of just have to fly by night and, well, let's get third hands here. And hopefully you can see that okay. Now, gravity kind of wants us to go one direction, so we need to just get it flat with that. Yeah, one pin definitely already straightened it out quite a bit. Now it no longer is fighting me quite so much, so I'm going to go ahead and hopefully when I solder the corresponding pin on the other side, that will help us. So go ahead and attach that like so. And yeah, as you can see, it looks pretty straight already. So I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, everything looks okay here. Just gonna go ahead and put our vice grip in place and solder the rest of the pin header. It's a little tight with the trimmers on it. What's there? I need to clean those up a little bit. But yeah, that's damn it. Braid is good for that purpose. And yeah, now we're back in business. Just gonna go ahead and hit the other side here too. Hopefully that doesn't looks pretty good and straight still, so and solder one or two of these other ones in place here. And this will hold them in place. So, as much as we can. I don't think there's much we can do to straighten it if it's not that straight at this point, but it is straight, as you can see. Looking pretty good back there. Yeah, nice sandwich. So do not try taking these apart before you've done all of them, or stuff ripped out, or it's just not good until you go ahead and solder every pin. So just do that. You want to do that. Okay, so here we have our pin headers all set. Yeah, when I take it apart, it just sits like a little card, as you can see. So yeah, we're all done with this board, apart from the finishing touch, a CA3080 chip. This is only available in through-hole. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that chip in place before I set this aside, just so I don't forget and go power it on later. All right, so that's in place, firmly pressed in, and let's just double check for our peace of mind. Don't put this in backwards either. That probably won't be good. So yeah, looking sharp as a little sandwich here, not bad. So yeah, I'm gonna take this off and set it aside. Hopefully that's, I don't know. Our power header is sitting here, so hopefully that's enough strain relief on it. Maybe I should have added something. What are you gonna do? Okay, so the next step is our hardware. So, we will need some chunker tongs, our pots. So I'm using a 10K in place of the 100K, typically used in the XXY position. Now this is just a voltage divider between 0 and 6.2 volts, or thereabouts. So, Ohm's law tells me that the 1/20th watt rating of this is more than sufficient for 0 to 6 volts. So I am just going to rely on that. I don't have a lot of pots to spare right now because I'm using them for mostly KnobCon assembly stuff. So hopefully that's okay. Hopefully this thing doesn't like start smoking, but I don't think I'm wrong. I've done this before, but maybe don't try it at home, or maybe do. I think that you can do the math on this, but yeah, hold on. Okay, so some quick back of napkin math indicates that with a 10K pot, even like 7 volts going through it is like 1/200th of a watt. So like 10 times what this 10K pot can tolerate as a voltage divider between like 0 and 6, or even a little bit more volts. So we should be way better than okay in terms of this potentiometer using a 10K. I think the originals even use 25K, and I've used 100. You know, you can use a lot of stuff. You probably wouldn't want to use a 1 meg because that might be a little noisy. I don't really know, but 10K should be okay here. Moral of the story. So I'm gonna go ahead and get everything soldered up. So it's been a nice build so far, and I do think the layout is pretty nifty as well. I think it's a good function for 4 HP, but I'm excited excited about. So let's go ahead and already chopped off my little anti-rotation lug on the pot. So I can just go ahead and solder that first. And we've got so some people don't even do this, they just place it face down before fastening these. I like to because it makes sure they're held steady against the panel, which is very nice to me. But once again, we're going to solder everything except the plastic shaft pots because you have to be finicky with the final position of those. Otherwise, stuff happens. I mean, basically, otherwise, sometimes they can rub up against the hole in the panel for them, and that is just not fun to deal with or play, especially not play. So we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen here. Okay, so I've got, I just hand tightened them. I didn't even mega tighten them. I have my tool here somewhere, sure. All right, so no LED. This is like the first module I've built in a really long time with no LED because I like LEDs. Could have done one here, didn't. Yeah, you just want to make sure that nothing falls out. Before you have a chance to solder all of it. Okay, so kind of positioning my camera at a weird angle, but giving it a little more light. It's just gonna fall. I think this wants to fall. All right. Well. Bear with me. Okay, so we've got our vice grip holding the panel in place, so it's just gravity at this point, but that's great because that is really the best way to get everything sitting well. I'm gonna do these, start with these jacks down here because why not? See, as I said, we're going to do everything except the, this is interesting. So yeah, already we've got some poppage. What did I do? How did I? Why are these so interesting? Well, yeah, these ones get kind of. So I kind of want to push the panel down a bit. All right, so maybe it's best to do it from the center in hindsight. Anyway, what I'm gonna do is, when I'm heating this pad, I'm just gonna push down on it a little bit, and that is going to, at least, I don't know. Good enough for jazz, as they say. Ooh, oops. I missed a header. Uh-oh. Nice one, Jack. Wow. All right, well, at this point we already have our, wow, nice one. I missed a header. Oh no. I believe it's only ground, but that's, from a mechanical standpoint, probably also pretty important. So, real quick, well, I can really just get it. So I'm not going to attach those yet. I am just going to attach this potentiometer. Wow. So this is what happens when you don't do this with the bill of materials in front of you, even when you yourself made this module. So anyway, it's looking pretty good. All of the jacks and pots, except for these plastic ones, are soldered in. So that's a pretty good place to start. And oopsie daisy. But that was a good idea to include. So now I just need a pin socket. Definitely a little cramped with all the parts, but so you want to make sure you didn't accidentally clip off any of the pin connectors. Just really quickly, we will take these. I'm just gonna get rid of this one because it would be a lot easier to solder. Oh. Make sure you do the right side again. And it should just go in like so. Whoops, this is what happens when you do things out of order. Okay. Cool. It's gonna be a fun module, that's for sure. Okay, double checking that yes, we have the right header and socket on each PCB. And I'm just going to go ahead and solder these very quickly. I believe they're all grounded. Good thing I caught that before putting these other potentiometers on, huh guys? All right, so put our pot back. Oh yeah, take out our module sandwich thing. Put on a washer. Washer goes there and panel will go over it. Looking good. And since all I have to do is make sure those are straight for the time being, I can just solder, or I can just screw on a few of these, enough to hold it in place. basically just need to make sure these are straight. So what I like to do is solder one leg. And then check. So yeah, it has to be a little bit over. Basically just do this until it's straight. Or thereabouts. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. Through the hole and everything. I did make a pretty big panel hole for this one, I must say, but that ought to be good. So once you've ascertained that there's like daylight between them, you can go ahead and solder the other leg. And yeah, as you can see, that's looking good, and we'll go ahead and do the same thing here. First, we try to straighten it in general, like so. Looks good. All right, so both of these are looking good, so I can go ahead and solder our pins, the potentiometer pins. Very important. Okay, and that is all of the hardware soldered. So now, as you can see, we've got our little card, and just make sure it's always going right side up. I probably should have indicated that on the PCB, to be honest, but anyway, when one goes to play it, as you can see, once again, we've finagled it so that the power header sits on the first board, doesn't add anything to it. So a lot of the depth is coming, I guess, just from the trimmers in this design. So if you have a single turn, that would probably help, but this should work in any event. Okay, so it's gonna be pretty easy for me to knob this up. I used a D shaft this time, so once I locate, I'm gonna put on our rest of our screws here. All right, and last but not least, we've got our knob. Check it out. Ring mob.